Hi everyone, welcome back. This is a slightly shorter video. Lots of you have said that you would prefer the shorter videos, so I'm not sure exactly how long it's going to be yet, but shorter, fairly challenging, no equipment necessary, so let's get going. So whenever you're ready, I want you just to start on your knees. Now I've kept my feet flat like so. If you would prefer to tuck them under, then please feel free. And I want you to have your knees directly underneath your hip sockets. Now remember, your hip sockets really aren't much wider than your cheekbones, so always bearing that in mind. Collarbones nice and open, trying to keep 180 degrees at your hip at all times. So in other words, pubic bone forwards, hip bones a little backwards. And we're just going to take a little warm up from here. So some lateral flexion, one arm comes up and you're going to laterally flex across to the side. Slowly bringing it back and arm comes up, laterally flex to the side. And again, bringing it back, coming up, keep the flow up and over, and we're just going to do one more, bringing it up, coming up to come over and all the way back. We rotate now, arms out to the side. Hip bone lights constantly pointing forwards as we rotate to the side and all the way back through center. Keep the flow. Try and get a good breathing pattern going. So maybe an exhale, exhale, exhale. Inhale to return and an exhale, exhale, exhale. Maybe it's more comfortable for you to be in this position with your elbows. Entirely up to you, but keep those little hip bone lights pointing forwards all the time. We'll do one more each way. And again, rotate, 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 and pause. Now I want you to do a little bit of flexion and extension. So we're going to flex the spine forwards and extend, shortening that middle upper back. We're going to flex forwards and extend. So rounding the upper middle back, hip bones backwards, and then shortening the middle upper back. Be careful that your extension isn't just pulling your head back. So really thinking about trying to get that middle upper back. Shortening middle upper back and rounding the middle upper back. One more, shortening and bringing it all the way back. So from here, we're going to bring ourselves to the side. So I just want you to think about a little bit of opening of your hip. And so we're going to bring the arms forwards. And all you're going to do is bring your bottom towards your heels and bring it back up. So the bottom to the heels and bringing it back up. You could always bring it down and the arms could come back. So we come down, bringing it up. And again, down, really open the front of the hips. If you wanted to, imagine you were squeezing your upper inner thighs in towards the bottom. Up and down. So if you've been sitting all day, it's nice to open that hip. We'll do one more. And then if you can, we're going to bring it down. We're going to hover, 2, 3, 4, and squeeze it up. Hover, 2, 3, 4, and squeeze. Now note how the back is staying straight. Hover, 2, 3, 4, and back up. Last one, hover, 2, 3, 4, and all the way back up. We can just stretch out those thigh bones, push the pubic bone forwards, hip bones back, and we'll take a little hinge. Try and keep the pubic bone forwards, your hip bones. Try not to let your shoulders round. And we'll bring it all the way back. So you should feel this stretch through the front of the leg. One more, bringing it back, 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 back. And slowly all the way back up. Bring yourself straight into a box position. Let your feet feel nice and relaxed. We're going to curl from the tail, bottom ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs. Head drops down, little cat stretch. And then push your head and tail away from each other. Again, curling from the tail, bottom ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs, breastbone, head drops down, and push the head and tail away. Now we're going to start working. So we're going to have hand underneath each of the shoulders, knee
knee underneath each of the hips. You're going to tuck the toes underneath, a nice neutral spine. So remember, drawing that low hairline in, collarbones open, bottom ribs in, neck in alignment with the spine. And all I want you to do is hover. So you're simply hovering, holding, and bringing it back down. So this might be enough for you, but if you can, you're going to hover, you're going to hold it here, and you're now going to take one foot out and the other foot out, so we end up into our plank position. And then we're going to bring it back to the hover. Hovering, and then taking different foot out each time. Back and back into my hover. So we go back, back, hold, bringing it in, hold. Back, back, hold, in, hold. One more, back, back, hold it there, in, and hold. Now on this next one, we're going to push it back, and hold. Now working the shoulders, we're going to protract and retract the shoulder blades. So we pull the shoulder blades apart, and we pull the shoulder blades together. Pull them apart, pull them together. Protraction and retraction of the shoulder blades. That doesn't mean to say that you collapse through the neck. Just squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other and pull them apart. Two more, and bringing it back. One more, and pulling them apart. Stabilize them, and then very slowly from there, one knee down, other knee down, and we're going to come down into a little forearm plank. So bring one elbow down, bring the other elbow down to make sure that you come into this nice and safely and comfortably. I want you to start off with the top of the thigh touching the mat. Make sure that you're breathing wide and full. Remember the importance of your inhales and your exhales, the movement of the diaphragm for the stability of your spine. So from there, I want you just to imagine a sling under your hips, and you pull the hips up using that imaginary sling visualization. Now we're going to tuck one toe under, stretch the leg out, tuck the other, stretch the leg out, and holding it here. So you're just holding and breathing, pulling that low hairline gently in. Now from here, we're going to reach one leg away from us, holding and breathing, and lower it back down. Reach the other leg away, so you can feel that hip extension, the bottom is working. We reach, and we lower, and we reach, and we lower, and again, reach, and lower, and reaching, and lowering. We'll just do a couple more, and down, and reach, and lower. We can push back a little into the heels, forwards into the toes, back and forwards. Feel those upper arms working. We'll do two more, and back, and one more, and back. Let your knees gently come down. Push yourself up. Take a little stretch for those shoulders. Perhaps the arms are more comfortable to rest down by your sides. Big inhale into the back and the base of the lungs. Slowly we stack low back, middle back, upper back, and eyes. Now from there we're going to come into a little side plank. So I want you to come onto your sides. So start position is onto the knees again. You're going to just breathe. You're going to remember how your hip was lovely and open at the beginning. And you're going to take one foot out to the side, making sure that that big toe is just a little in front of your knee. You're going to let your tail feel super long, the collarbones open, arms out to the side. Remember the lateral flexion you did at the beginning. And you're going to hold it here. Now this may be enough for you, just holding and breathing. But if you can, I'm going to pull that outstretched leg in just a little. Your big toe is pointing forwards, your foot is flat. And we're going to take the underside leg and pull it under. Then slowly from there we can bring it back under us again. We take it out, we bring it in. We take it out, we bring it in. We take it out to bring it in. Last one out, and this time just hold it here. If you can, from here we move into the star. So you're going to lift that top leg, holding and breathing. Let that top leg come back down, knee comes down, all the way back up, and we can stretch it up and over. Be careful that the bottom doesn't pull backwards. Keep the hips open. You can hold and you can stretch, 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 stretch. And then slowly from there we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So knee comes down, toe, remember, is just and no more in front of your underside knee. Arms come out, come down to the side. Make sure that this hand is directly underneath your shoulder, shoulder blade nice and stable. So whenever you're ready, you're going to think about now your underside leg coming underneath and hold. And then bring that knee back under you. And again, underside out and back to hold. And underside comes out and back to hold. Push that underside hip forwards all the time and pushing out and bringing it back under you. So on this next one, we're going to try the star, taking it out, holding it there, and let that top leg come up. Hold and breathe. And let the top foot come down, underside knee comes right underneath you, bringing it all the way up, and you come up and over. Remember, you're pushing this top hip forwards. Hold on to your wrist and feel that lovely, lovely stretch. So slowly from there, we're going to come into extension. So we come down onto our tummies. So prone position. And we're going to maintain a goalpost position initially. So my head is in alignment with the rest of the spine. We're going to have the fingernails maybe level with around about the top of the hairline. Push those thigh bones beautifully long and lengthened. I don't mind if your feet hover at all. Remember, the pubic bone is weighted, the hip bones are lighter, the bottom ribs are in. Wide full inhale, and you're going to exhale and hover your arms, hover those feet. Think less about compression in the low back, more about lengthening the spine. Lower everything back down. And again, we hover everything. Think less about height, more about length. And all the way back down. Be very careful that when you lift, you don't just push your foot, your chin forwards like this. So be really, really careful that you keep your neck nice and long. Now, if you can, from here, we hover, and then we're going to reach the arms out. Bring it back in, reach the arms out. Bring it back in, reach those arms out. And back in and lower everything back down. And we're going to repeat. So we hover everything. Keep the length in the neck. Remember, no chin pointing forwards like so. And you're going to reach those arms. And bring it in, and reach the arms and the legs, and bring it in, and reach everything out, bring it in, let everything come back down again. Now slide your arms forwards, we'll do a little bit of swimming. So we're now going to elevate opposite arm and leg, lower it back down. Other opposite arm and leg, lower it back down. So this may be where you stay. If you would prefer, you can keep the arms out of it and just work on the legs like so. But if you can, we are reaching, and then we're going to lift the other. Now from there, opposite arm and leg lifts, and we switch. Switch, 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 until we are swimming. Kick, 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 for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pause, let everything come back down. So we're going to take it now into a quick swan, bringing your hands so that the nails are level with round about your hairline. Elevate the head, neck and chest, slowly pushing into the hands, pulling the bottom ribs right back, open those collarbones, and lay the bones all the way back down. And again, really feel the openness through your hip. Think always lengthen before we shorten that middle upper back, feeling that extension work. And again, elbows, first thing to come down, and then the ribs, then the breastbone, then the face. And again, hover, Slowly lifting, 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 lifting. Pull those bottom ribs in. And elbows first, all the way back down. One more. Hover. Stretch. Lovely shortening of that middle upper back. And all the way back down. Now from there, we're going to do a little push-up. And I want you to make it slightly modified by keeping your knees down, so be careful of the low back. You're going to push up so that we can find our nice start position. A hand underneath each of your shoulders will make it easier by crossing over the legs. So the legs cross, you're thinking about an openness through the front of your hip, and all I want you to do is take the elbows out to the side and push it back up. Elbows out to the side and pushing it back up. Out to the side, pushing it back up. Would it be possible to try the tricep push-up? So elbows into the side, pushing it back. Get those hands right underneath your shoulders, into the side, pushing it back up. This is 2, push it back up. Number 3, all the way back up. Take a little moment, we're going to do elbows out to the side again. So whenever you're ready, we come down and pushing it up. And again, we come down and pushing it back up. We come down, pushing it back up. And we've got 3 with our elbows going backwards. So elbows back, pushing it all the way back up. And again, elbows back, pushing it back up. We have 1 more, elbows back, push it all the way back up. Taking a little break, let your heels come towards the bottom, bottom towards heels. And again, you can take it down with the arms. Perhaps a little stretch to one side, a stretch to the other. And again to the first side and to the second side. So now we're going to come onto our elbow for a little bit of elbow plank. So just be careful with this one. You can keep it at the very modified version if you wish. And we're going to begin with our elbow directly underneath our shoulders, knees stacked like so. Lovely, long, lengthened neck. So you can begin just by lifting up, 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 and bringing it all the way back down. You can bring it all the way up. I want you to imagine a sling underneath your waist and all the way back down. One more. Really feel that there's a gigantic ice cube under your waist that you need to lift away from. Now, if you can from there, we reach 1 out. The underside is underneath, the top is on top. And we're going to lift into that elbow plank and hold it here. Now, if you can, thread the needle. I want you to imagine you're being lifted up by your waist as we thread the needle through and bring it back up. 3 of these. Thread the needle through and bring it back up. Keep that waist lifted and all the way back up. Now a little hip dip. We lower, we lift. We lower, we lift. 1 more and lift and hold. And bend your knees a little to let it come all the way back down. Now we're going to do a little version, a modified version of our teaser. So I've come more to the front edge of my mat so that I've got a little bit of space behind me. And so we'll begin with our underside arm nice and long and lengthened. And our top arm is up. And I want you just to think about legs being super long. Now from there, my head is just hovering. We can take this palm now so that it is flat. So try and make sure there's no sort of hip flexion. So in other words, creating a little bit of a kink at the hip. So really super long legs. Now whenever you're ready from there, we're going to start to roll onto that underside bottom cheek, lifting, 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 and then we come all the way back down again. So we lift all the way up, and we squeeze it all the way back down, all the way up. So I'm on to really just one bottom cheek here, and all the way back down. And again, lift, 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 lift. and all the way back down. Now this next one, make sure you've got enough mat behind you. You're going to lift it all the way up, and if you can, bring that arm up. Hold, and slowly back down, and finish it off nicely by bending your knees. We're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So we'll come all the way around, and you're going to begin with your elbow plank. So elbow directly underneath your shoulder, your knees are stacked, your feet are stacked. Remember the position of the head, nicely aligned, right on top of the spine. Careful you're not dropping your head forwards. Keep your eyes looking forwards. And then slowly from there, you're going to lift up. Imagine you have a sling under your waist. And again, lifting up and lowering it back down. And lifting it up and lowering it back down. So more challenging. Make sure that you're on the mat. Top foot is in front, underside leg is underneath. Elbow directly under shoulders, stabilize underside shoulder blade, and you're going to lift all the way up and hold it here. So make sure you're comfortable before you add progression, which is now the thread the needle, and all the way up, and thread that needle, and all the way back up. One more, thread the needle, all the way back up, and hold. So make sure that you really are holding good form. Little hip dip and back up, a hip dip and back up. One more and back up. Come back to the start position. Allow yourself to bend the knees and bring it down. So remember, for this one, we're going to do this little modified teaser. You want to be more towards the front edge of your mat. Underside arm is out to begin with while you set up the legs. Top arm is up. My head is just hovering. Then I'm going to take the palm so that it is nice and flat. Slowly from there, we come all the way up. I'm bringing that hand underneath me now and onto just a single bottom cheek. And then slowly all the way down, 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 and back. And again, we lift, 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 lift. And all the way back down. And again, lift, 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 lift. Really lift your heart. So I'm onto one bottom cheek. Because I'm doing this side, it is my right bottom cheek. Lift my heart. And all the way back. Now make sure that you have enough mat behind you to do the full one. So we're going to lift this time all the way up, and I'm going to bring that hand up and lift it up. So really lift your heart. Squeeze those legs together. My legs are shaking. And then slowly from there, take a little bend and take a moment. If you need to relax your hips, then you can. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of chest lift. So centered into the mat, bringing it all the way down. Clasp your hands together. Put them behind your middle skull. A little bit of length at the back of the neck. Pick your head, neck and chest up. And lay it back down. Head, neck and chest comes up. So I'm trying really hard not to flatten out my back too much. I'm trying really hard to keep the elbows in peripheral vision, keeping the eyes up, large piece of fruit between chin and chest. Lifting and bringing it back down. Lifting, 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 and bringing it back down. On this next one, as long as you're happy to lift your head, neck and chest, please hold it here. We're going to bring one leg to bent knee, other leg to bent knee. Now be careful. You want to keep your thigh bone in a good position, ensuring, so absolutely vertical, ensuring that your abdominals are holding your leg there. You don't want to let your legs push forwards and your back starts to arch. So really, really get these upper flexors to work and really think about that low hairline drawing in. We're going to try and reach the legs up towards the ceiling. Now slowly from there, we'll lower one leg and lift from the stomach. Lower the other and lift from the stomach. Lower, lower, lower. Lift, lift, lift. Lower, lower, lower. Keep those upper flexors working. Lower and lift. We'll do one more. Lower and lift. Now both legs, if you can, I'm going slightly externally rotated. Maybe you stop here. If you can go low and it's not going onto your back, then please challenge yourself. And again, lowering and really squeezing those inner thighs together. And then get those upper abdominals to keep flexing your spine. Lowering and lifting. We'll do 2 more. Squeeze those legs together. Lift at the same time as you lower. Lower, lower, lower. And lift, lift, lift. Back to bent knee. We'll reach a single leg out. And we switch. And we switch. Keep thinking all the time that you're not just pulling your head forwards. You're focusing on those upper abdominals, keeping the flexion of the upper body. Reach and reach and reach and reach. Now pause, and we're going to rotate from our middle back towards that knee. And then we switch. Now from the waist down, you're absolutely stable. My eyes are looking far away. Eyes look far away from me all the time. Reach and reach. Are you breathing? So important that you're breathing. Reach and reach. We'll do 2 each side and 1 each side. Bringing it all the way in. Head, neck and chest comes down. Arms out to the side and straight into a little supine spine twist. If you prefer the capital E position, then please try it. You can keep your feet flat if you would prefer. And to this side, remember, we are not massaging our waistband, we're massaging that sacral region. 1 more, and all the way back to pause. Take your hands around, hold behind the knees, length at the back of the neck, pick your head, neck and chest up. We're going to bring ourselves all the way up for a little rolling like a ball. So from here, you can keep your hands on your knees if you prefer, or you can have your hands onto your shins. Draw your hip bones slightly backwards, pull those toes in, make sure that this comes from the tummy. We've done it so many times in the class that it comes from the stomach, not from just leaning back. So the eyes, remember, make sure that they are always looking in between your legs. As we inhale, roll back, exhale, back up. Inhale, roll back, exhale, back up. So relax something if you can. Please relax your neck, your shoulders. We're going to add a little bit to this. So maybe, just maybe, you want to make it more adventurous. So if you can, we're now going to allow the hands to come down. We roll back and we reach up all the way back. I'm just going to make sure that I'm centered on my mat. So we roll back and we reach up and we bring it back and we balance. Roll back and reach it up all the way down to balance. Really using those hands as little as I can and all the way back. We'll do 2 more, reach up all the way back. Last one, reach up, and on this next one, I'm going to bring it down, hands down, hips up. Bring it down, slide it forwards, reach it up, down. Now I want to open my hips, open the shoulders down, and reach up, down, and open the hips. And again, 2 more, reaching it up, and down. So if you've been sitting, we need to open those hips. Last one. And reach it up and down and open those hips. In line with that last exercise, we're going to just do the full version of leg pull supine. In other words, plank but facing upwards. So imagine somebody was prodding you in between your shoulder blades, pushing you a little forwards. You can always take your hands out to the side if you would prefer. And as you prod the shoulder blades forwards, you're going to lift up, lightly lowering down, keeping that imaginary prod between your shoulders. And again, we're going to lift up, really open, open, open through the front. And again, lifting up, 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 up. And lowering back down. And on this last one, if you would like a little progression, we lift up and hold, then lift one leg and lower it. Lift the other leg and lower it. We'll do one more each side, and lower, and lift, and lower. Bringing it all the way back down, and just bring it to the front. Bring those heels in, push your breastbone forwards. So really feel that you're going into almost a little back extension. So it looks a little like this. I'm pushing into my knees, shortening that middle upper back. Really trying to feel that I'm taking a nice stretch in the back and the hip. And then slowly from that position, we're going to lift it up. Hands by our sides, lateral flexion again. And again, laterally flex. Just moving the spine every which way. And then from there, sitting, little capital E position. And I want you to lift your heart, shorten that middle upper back. And bring it back. I'll show you the view from this side. So capital E position. I'm lifting the heart. I'm shortening the middle upper back. Just move the arms out of the way. Lifting, lifting, lifting. And back. You can always have your thumbs pointing backwards if it feels easier. And imagine that the fingertips lift a little, the thumbs point back a little. And we're shortening that middle upper back. And back. One more. Lift. Shortening the middle upper back and back. Reach your legs out beautifully long. Articulate down through the spine. Arms come back, arms up. Lift all the way up and stretch it forwards. This is our last one. All the way back. Arms come up and lift and stretch it forwards. Hold the feet if you can, ankles, knees, calves. I am pulling the toes firmly towards me, pushing my heels away from me. Feeling that lovely hamstring stretch. Coming down as far as you can manage. And slowly release that low back, middle back, upper back, eyes. Round to our little box. Just as we began, we hover. Upside down, push down. Release one heel up. Lift the toes of the other and switch. Lift the toes on your stretching side, pushing down into the heel, push both down, widen the elbows. Bring those feet in towards the hands, hang, very heavy, and slowly release that low back, middle back, upper back, and eyes. And lift those arms up, push them away from you and all the way down. Lift those arms, push them away. Maybe bring the arms behind you and stretch out the front of the shoulder. And on this last one, carefully release. Lift all the way up. Push the palms. Reaching, bringing loads of wonderful energy all the way into the body. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll be back again really soon with something a little softer.